Well, the U.S. military is carrying out another deadly strike on an alleged drug boat in the Eastern Pacific. U.S. Southern Command saying in part, quote, intelligence confirmed that that vessel was carrying illicit narcotics and transiting along a known narco trafficking route in the Eastern Pacific. 4 male narco terrorists aboard that vessel were killed.
I saw 2 survivors trying to flip a boat loaded with drugs down for the United States, back over, so they could stay in the fight. And potentially, given all the context we heard, of other narco-terrorist boats in the area coming to their aid to recover their cargo and recover those narco-terrorists.
So that's Republican Senator Tom Cotton immediately as he came out of that skiff, that secret security briefing there in Washington. He talked for about 5 minutes there about the video of the second strike on that alleged boat in the Caribbean back in September. This after a briefing with the Navy Admiral Frank Mitch Bradley. Now, he detailed that attack to some lawmakers in closed-door sessions yesterday. So far, the U.S. has carried out 22 strikes against alleged drug boats in recent months. Want to bring in Rick Crawford, Republican congressman out of Arkansas, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He was also briefed by Admiral Bradley yesterday. And, sir, welcome to our coverage today on this Friday morning. We're here from Senator Cotton. Give me your take. What did you see?
Yeah, I think he characterized that pretty accurately.
Okay, guys, welcome to the video. This is Justin Paul, and we're gonna, just continue following this story as far as the double tap that happened on the boat strike back in September, and just also, there's been 22 of these boat strikes that have been carried out since September, and this really a war on drugs. They're trying to, the administration is trying to definitely keep drugs out of America. And as you guys may have seen, when the clip was starting, it may be a day or two, and then, there's another boat on its way. So, they're going to continuously try to get drugs into America because this is one of the, top countries to where, they'll have a customer base for drugs and stuff like that. We're not the only country, but, definitely one of the top countries that, individuals would spend, their money on illegal drugs to, do whatever, But, the administration is, this is another one of the priorities of this administration is to prevent the drugs from actually reaching our shores. And they're getting these boats in the Eastern Pacific, and of course we know there's the leaders. I've seen comments and stuff like that, and other videos of people saying, the head guys aren't on the they're not on these boats. These are people who are scared for their lives, or being conned or bullied into coming over here, bringing the drugs and stuff like that. Their families are getting threatened and stuff like that, which, I do believe a lot of that to be true, but, if you're going to risk your life, especially at a time where we're taking this type of stuff serious, and, they're actually doing military actions, like, dropping bombs on you on a boat, like, and they're very accurate with these bombs as well. So they're dropping bombs on you with a boat. You have a chance to be obliterated right in the middle of the ocean. It's just like, is the threat from the leaders who put you up to it that great, or is the money that great to where you would literally risk and lose your life to try to get these drugs into a place where we're trying to prevent it from coming? And I know people, like I said, they're saying, oh, well, their families are being threatened and stuff like that. I mean, my question is, that cargo is a lot of times worth thousands, if not millions of dollars. What happens to the family after, one of these boats actually gets blown up? What happens to their families then? Do the cartel just say, well, we're just going to let you be? Or, do they end up becoming a slave to the cartel in order to pay for, the shipment that didn't reach the shores to in turn make them money? So, oh man, there's a lot of ways that you can look at this whole situation, but we do know that what the administration said as far as what their goal is, and they're going to continue to carry out these strikes in order to get the message sent loud and clear. Stop trying to traffic these drugs into America.
I wouldn't disagree with his characterization at all. I got the same brief, and Tom pretty well nailed it. I mean, look, these are, got to remember who we're dealing with here. I mean, we're dealing with cartel operatives. They are so vile. The things that they do, say nothing of the fact that they bring illicit drugs into the United States, but their conduct makes ISIS look like Boy Scouts. So I don't know that we should shed a tear over these strikes that are keeping Americans safe.
Here is Jim Hines, Democrat colleague from Connecticut. He sees it entire. I mean, this is a 180 here. Okay, listen to his observation.
On that room was one of the most troubling things I've seen in my time in public service. Any American who sees the video that I saw will see the United States military attacking shipwrecked sailors. Bad guys, but attacking shipwrecked sailors. Now there's a whole set of contextual items that the Admiral explained. Yes, they were carrying drugs. They were not in the position to continue their mission in any way.
So he says they were shipwrecked a couple times there, which suggests that they were defenseless. What do you say to that?
This isn't the Skipper and Gilligan on the SS Minnow that we're going after here. These are hardened drug traffickers. That was, look, I have the utmost respect for my ranking member, Jim Hines, but respectfully, we just disagree. We're dealing with a vile element here, and they were, as my friend Senator Cotton characterized, they were trying to right that ship. It was still laden with cargo because it was strapped into the boat. They were potentially signaling other vessels in the region. We don't know if they had access to SATCOMs or not, but as he characterized, still in the fight. And this is characteristic of these kind of strikes where we hear the term double tap. It's completely consistent with the same tactics and techniques and procedures that took place under President Obama's watch when he took strikes on terrorists, some of which were U.S. persons and or U.S. citizens. So I don't recall the outrage on those strikes when it was the Obama administration exercising, but we have all this righteous indignation because President Trump is taking an active role in protecting Americans.
All right, it's Friday morning here. 2 days ago on Wednesday, the president was asked about it, as to whether or not the American public would see it. Here's how he answered that.
You released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what happened?
I don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem. We stopped every boat we knock out. We save 25,000 American lives.
Right. Sir, will we see it? Should we see it?
Well, I think if you saw that in context and you understood the briefing that we got as it applies to the decision tree that takes place in real time, a joint operations center where these strikes are basically led and directed there's so many people in there, and not to mention the fact that there are lawyers present. This is not some rogue decision that some guy just jumped out there and on his own did. It follows a strict protocol, the decision-making process, what they call a decision tree before they exercise. And there's a consensus in the room. Ultimately, the decision is made by the man at the top, and that's Admiral Bradley. And, to say something about Admiral Bradley, first off, appreciate him and the chairman coming in and briefing us, but he is one of the most respected officers in the military. We don't know a heck of a lot about him because he is a quiet professional. He does exercise sound judgment, and he did so in this case as well.
Rick Crawford, thank you for your time.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily.
So So there you have it. You know, the strikes are going to continue. As long as they keep, getting on those vessels and strapping in their drugs and looking to bring it into America, the strikes are going to continue. And I just feel like in this situation, there may be some laws against certain things, but we got some more content saying that, there's lawyers that's present. Of course, there's going to be multiple people in the room. So it's not just one person. One person gives the order, but, a lot of people contribute to, the whole decision-making process. And, because, of course, that's a lot of power to have just in one person's hand, just one person's decision. And, hopefully we do get to see the video of the second strike and stuff like that. But they were saying that the survivors were trying to flip the boat back over, and of course there's maybe other vessels that was in the area. So just basically saying, that they were signaling to the other vessels to come and get the cargo and stuff like that. But as you can see, from September 2nd, September 15th, then 4 days later, 19th, then a few days later, like a week or so later, October. So it's just like they've really been trying. One was the 22nd and the 23rd of October and the 24th. So this just kind of gives you an idea of how much drugs is actually getting pushed into America. Just imagine the months that they wasn't doing these strikes. Each of these times it's thousands and thousands of dollars worth of drugs that is just fast tracking their way into America. So, I'm super interested in stuff like this, and definitely gonna keep updating you guys and following this whole story and what's going on. They as recently as December 4th is when another strike was carried out, but they've been pretty busy trying to get those drugs into America. It's a lot of people who are super upset, and so you can see the close proximity of Colombia and Venezuela, who could be working together to get the drugs into America. So, I mean, we'll just have to see what's going to happen. But I do appreciate the effort to keep drugs out of America. It's ruined a lot of families, broken down a lot of communities, and has a long-lasting effect on generations of people. After the person who uses it, could be a mother, could be, a father, but it could be a son. People have lost their children to, the overuse of illicit drugs. And, I do tip my hat to the administration for giving their best efforts to try to keep those drugs out of America. But I'm going to wrap this video up. If you like my content, of course, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And this is Justin Paul. Peace.